We're going live tonight from Hope Ridge RTA and Hope Ridge Farm, Trust, Rescue, Train, and Adopt. We will be working on commands such as marker words and explaining the benefit of using marker words while training. If you have followed along through our entire journey, we're working up to doing some obedience training, as well as we've done a lot of leadership training up until now, which is the number one thing and most important thing prior to obedience training. Lauren, good to see you. Wow, that's awesome. Lauren, it usually takes a couple people to time to get in, so we usually start a few minutes after. Sometimes it takes people a while on Facebook to find the event and stuff like that, so we usually go about 10 minutes. How's Blue doing? What's that mean? Bring them on video. Does that mean you can join the video? So Lauren, since you're new to this, I am, this is all very grassroots for me. I'm terrible at social media, and that's one of my things. So we struggle through every event. We struggle a lot. Oh, it looks like I wonder why yours has a bring them onto video. Hey, Stuff, is that you or Jen? I see are you on Jen's phone, or is Jen watching? Is watching. Lauren, yours says, I don't know why when it popped up, it says bring you onto video. I wonder if I can add you to the video. That's weird. I've never seen that before. He's doing great, snoozing away. Nice. That's good. He needs lots of sleep. I'm sure he's exhausted from his previous life. It's funny that we talked today, Lauren, because my husband was asking about that dog over the weekend. He must have saw a post on Facebook through the dog warden, and he was asking about it. I was like, how does somebody drop a dog off, just drop him off after hours? I said, well, they tied him to a flagpole and left him there all night. Hi, Christina. Good to see you. Kathy, good evening. And so please note, please feel free at any time to text in questions, whether they're relative or not. I try to get to them. Sometimes the scrolling goes a little faster than I can keep up with, but I do want to cover every question, whether it's regarding marker words or anything else. Sometimes I have if I miss them, usually somebody on my team will text me on my other phone to tell me that I missed a question. We're still trying to figure out how to do the moderator thing. You don't have sound or action. Huh. I wonder, Momo or Bonnie, Momo, if that's because this is your phone. Hi, Matt. Good to see you. Also, the other thing is, so ask questions whenever you can, regardless if it's relative or not, because they're important. Oh, you do now. Good. Always, if I don't get it, re-ask it. If I missed it during the thread, if sometimes, like I said, I have some people texting me on my other phone saying, "Oh, you missed a question." Not intentional by any means, but I love to answer the questions. Tonight, I'm hoping to be able to do a little bit of demonstrating, so we have a different setup here tonight. I've got multiple phones. I'm trying an iPhone tonight, which is the first time. I don't know anything about an iPhone. I have a Galaxy or a Samsung phone, or a lot of times I do it from my office because it's much less complicated on a computer than it is a cell phone. But so tonight we're going to be working on marker words. But again, if you have other questions, don't hesitate to ask. Usually these go about an hour and a half. You can join anytime during, join late if you need to, leave early if you have to. Those are all good things. Just glad to have you joining us. Tonight in the kennel, we have Tim, all my rescue dogs are here. I have my old beagle that was in foster care for months, is back with us. But she's not in the kennel room at the moment, but she may be back, so I may have to open the door for her. And the rest are all here snoozing. Well, Ranger's right here. Yeah, let me say hi. Huh? Yeah. So hopefully we'll be able to do a little bit of demonstration with one of the dogs tonight on what marker words are. So we'll give it about 2 or 3 more minutes and make sure everybody who's trying to join can. I know, Laura, in the store, I know, I couldn't, when Melissa, Matt, so Lauren's in the chat tonight, and she is the one that adopted Rudy, who is now Blue. And for those of you that, and Matt can probably tell the story way better than I can, but I talked to Melissa today. Blue was tied up to the fence post outside of the dog warden overnight, dumped out there, and then he came in with like huge gashes on his head, and he was in medical treatment for, Melissa said he was at the shelter for 52 weeks. No, I'm sorry, 52 days, not weeks, for a long time. And then Lauren adopted him about, maybe a week and a half ago, 2 weeks. So it's a really sad story. And some of the pictures are really traumatizing, actually. Good evening, Craig. I'm going to step away real quick and just grab my water so that I have that with me. Actually, it's my soda water. I can't live without my Spindrift. Yeah, it was sad. It was a sad story. And I had remembered seeing him being posted but I had never met him, and I wasn't really sure until I asked Melissa. The dumper was seen walking away from the shelter the day before, carrying a club. So that's where we think the wounds. That's just unbelievable. Like, were they making a point? I mean, like, you didn't take them out. I don't know. I don't understand. I don't understand people with, I mean, yeah. I mean, I don't know. I wish that's my beagle knocking to get in. I wish it was easier to, it's Braley. Hold on, Ranger. To press charges. It's just not a top priority all the time. I know, it's terrible. We got a Rottweiler in down at the shelter, I think it was last summer, a female, and she was just in such bad shape. It was terrible. I'm gonna open the door for my beagle real quick. Come on. Okay. We have multiple dogs. Hi, Sheila. Nice to see you. Oh, Sheila, yours says add to video too. Oh, so does Tom's. Matt does too. That must be like a new feature. I've never seen that before. Huh. We'll have to try that out. Maybe it's people with iPhones. Oh, he's the sweetest thing ever. Yeah. Yeah, I'm really glad that you're having a good time with him. Like he's settling in and if you haven't done research yet, Lauren, on the 333 rule, we should talk about that. It'll take, like, you'll start to see behavior changes every, 3 days, 3 weeks, and then again at 3 months, different things. And that's what I think you're seeing now with the resource guarding that you called me about. Did you see tomorrow? Tom is watching. Hi, Tom. I think I did see you pop in there. This will be good for your pup. Marker words. Dana, good to see you. How's your pup? Did you take Wilson on a walk today? Dana was with me last night. We were here for two hours at least working on reactivity with her little pup. She adopted I think he's like maybe like a little wiener dog mix from the from the dog warden, and he's having a lot of trouble with reactivity to other dogs. So we brought out one of my other dogs and we worked on that for about 2 hours till he could settle in. So, yeah, so let's start talking about what marker words are. So when we do, and this is the very beginning of like any kind of obedience training, like I like to focus predominantly on leadership training for, hi Michelle, good to see you. We predominantly start with leadership training for the first several weeks of having your dog learn. That's what I was explaining to you a little bit today. And we spend quite a bit of time on that leadership training so that the dog understands his place in the pack, which is, hello, Carol, good to see you. This will be good for your pup. So you have a little thing down there too to join in video. Some people do, some people don't. Interesting. Michelle, do you have an iPhone or a Samsung or something like that? Something other than an iPhone. I wonder if just the people with iPhones have join with video. And I wonder what would happen if I pushed it. So we spend predominantly the first, until the dog settled in, it's probably about the first 3 months in just like leadership training, which doesn't mean there's no obedience training. And actually there's quite a bit, but we're not focused on a lot of the sit, stay, down, heel, all of those things quite yet, because if you start with leadership, the other just kind of falls into place. And it makes it a lot easier to train because they understand leadership and you understand the dog's language as well as the dog learning to understand yours. And it takes a long time for a new dog to understand the rules, the boundaries, the routines of a new house, the people, the smells, all of that stuff becomes, it takes a while for them to kind of really, really settle in. And so during that time, we start doing a lot of training on those very things, the rules, the boundaries of the pack or the den. Oh, you have a Samsung. Okay, interesting. So I have a Samsung, which you don't have the video thing. But I know Carol has an iPhone. So I wonder if just the iPhone people are popping up to share a video. And I wonder if I touch that, if they would show up on the screen, if you could see them. Oh, you have a Samsung, Sheila. Well, see, yours showed up. See, I'll never understand technology. It's just, I'm too old. Actually, yeah, that's it. And I really don't have an interest in it that much. Enough is enough with the technology. So marker words are used and you can use marker words at the very beginning of your training. It's always good to start. And so what technically a marker word is I use the word yes, or sometimes I use the word good. Yes is a better word. And a lot of people will use clickers. And oh my goodness, these dogs. Tux, what are you doing? Does everybody know what a clicker is? And I'm sure you've seen them. A lot of trainers use a clicker. It's just a little button and they click. I'll grab one real quick and show you. I'm trying a little stand here today, and this one doesn't rotate when I walk, but my other one, it was too high to see. You're okay, Beagle. Come on. So this is a clicker, and you probably see a lot of trainers use these, and they use them instead of a marker word. So when the dog does something right, they'll use a clicker, and a lot of trainers use these. My dogs have never even heard it. They're all over here. I don't use clickers because I don't always have a clicker available. What? Do you want to see it? No, you can't eat it. No, you can't eat it. You know, so if I don't want to rely on a piece of equipment that I might not have. No, you're going to knock my camera over. So I use a marker word instead of a clicker. Don't touch that. This is the first time I've had the camera sitting on the floor, but I wanted you to be able to see back here where Ranger is, so that if I do a demonstration, you can see the floor. Otherwise, usually it's up a little higher. So I have this camera stand on the floor tonight. And some of them are very curious. So I use a word, and usually my word is yes. And there's a reason that we use a specific word. So we don't want to use good boy or that's good or things like that, because we say those things all the time. And so what we want to do is really just mark the behavior as being a good behavior, so that they understand that they're doing the right thing, that they're not, and to keep doing it. So like if you're trying to teach your dog a new skill, maybe like stay, as he's learning to stay, you can say yes, like you're doing the right thing, keep doing what you're doing. That's right, yes, you're doing the right thing, and then you will reward them. If I say good boy, that's good, whatever, one, it gets them way excited, because we say good boy or good girl all the time, and like, oh, isn't he cute, he's so good, things like that. And sometimes actually we end up rewarding the wrong behavior, because we say that's good so much, and good boy, and stuff like that. So we want to pick one single word that means, yes, you're doing the right thing, keep doing that, and you're going to get rewarded. And we want to associate that word like a click. It would be like a click. You'll see trainers click, reward. And so they associate, when I hear that noise, I'm doing the right thing and I'm going to get rewarded. So we want to do the same thing, but I use words instead of the clicker. So I might say, yes, you're doing that right, like a stay. I have him in a stay. And let's say we started a stay, we start pretty close to the dog, but as we move back in time, we start to move back, or we start to move around to the sides of the dog, so that they get used to movement, because a lot of dogs in the very beginning will start to like pop up when you start to move. They're like, oh, she's moving, I got to go with her. But what we really want them to do is stay. So we start with a stay very close, and we reward, like, yes, that's right, I just want you to stay there. And I might only be within a hand's distance from the dog. As time goes on and they're learning stay, I take a step back. Yes, so I'm telling him, yes, that's right, you're going to stay. And we always use our hand signals. We use our hand signals for multiple reasons. One, because dogs learn quicker with hand signals. Dogs learn through their nose, then their eyes, then their ears, and they obviously don't speak our language, so they have to learn a language. So if you think about learning French or, Spanish or any other language that you don't know, that's going to take a lot more time. But if somebody came up to you and was like shaking their fist at you, you'd know they're mad, because that's an expression. And so dogs are the same way. They learn hand signals and body language much quicker than they do words. And especially for a lot of our rescues, they're not taught those things. A lot of them are not taught those things. Hi, Melissa, good to see you. They're not taught those things because a lot of our rescues don't come from families that have done training. A lot of them have been, well, all of ours at the shelter there have been feral for some time. But some of them are like breeding, bait dogs, fighting dogs, bred puppies that are too old now and they can't sell, so they turn them loose. So there's a lot of background there where there's no training whatsoever. So when you get this new pup or dog, the first thing it's going to try to do is settle in, is to learn the new language. And that's your body language is first. So they're constantly reading the room and reading the environment. And that's why we say give them plenty of time to de-escalate, because they're just absorbing everything like a sponge. Not only are they trying to get over the trauma, settle in, but they're also trying to learn a new language, and that language is you. So it's very important that we mark that language with the behavior that we want to see. So for example, stay, we can just use that. All of my dogs kind of know stay, but I will, oh, Ranger's already over there. Let's see if, and I have a mic on today. I don't know if it's going to make a difference because stop. Because I wasn't sure if you'd be able to pick me up on the phone over there. So the first example, you may or may not hear me, let me know. Some of them don't speak English. That's right. Hi, Mike, good to see you. Thanks for joining. But I'll show you, and I might end up with 3 dogs over here because I have, come on, move. All right. So for example, stop, sit. You'll see a hand signal. I use sit. You can use whatever hand signals, whatever language you want. Your dog is going to learn your language. So you can use whatever you want. You don't have to use what I use. I don't use what other trainers use. Some people use a lot of different, they'll use a fist, they'll put their arms up, they do all different kinds of things. So whatever language you want to use with your dog is up to you. And you can train your dog for that. Stay. So I use stay. This is sit and stay. Hey, Matt, since you're the last one that just scrolled up, let me know can you hear me from back here? Can you hear me? Because I either can't see the text or I can't, I don't know if you can hear me or not, but let me know and I'll check back in. Okay, stay. So I might teach stay at first, very, very close. And if she stays, I would say, yes, that's correct. And I would, yes, and reward. Okay? Yes, stay. And as I start to, in time, move away from her, stay, I'm going to keep reminding her, but yes, that's right, stay there. Stay, yes. And I want her to learn the word yes. Yes. And we're just going to keep repeating this. Yes. And Tux, come here, Tux. Stay. Tuxie, come on. Come on. Good. Stay. Stay. Yes. And eventually, stay. Stay. Eventually, as you get farther and farther away, the yes becomes a word that they understand that they're doing the right thing. So we don't want to say, oh, that's so good, and get excited, because one, it'll encourage them to get up and come to me. And we use a lot of excitement when we start training recall. Yes. Yes. Stay. Stay. Come here, Tux. Come on. Let's bring you over here. Braley, sit. Stay. And my beagle doesn't know quite as much as my pitties do. Come. Sit. Good. Nope. Stay. Yes. So I keep rewarding Ranger with a yes because he hasn't moved. Tuxie, sit. Yes. And I tell him, yes, he did the right thing. Yes. And so the more I do with them, the more they learn. Braley, stay. And the more I repeat yes as my marker word, the more they're going to repeat the behavior, because that word marks that they're doing the right thing. And so as I move farther and farther away, yes, I can just keep rewarding them for that same behavior. And by you, Braley, sit. Stay. And you probably, I wish you guys, I don't know if you could have seen that when she broke. Stay. Her stay's not quite as good yet. I've only had her back for 2 days, 3 days. Stay. So okay, let me see if did Matt chime in and say he could hear? Oh, you can hear. Oh, good. Okay. You can hear me way back there. Craig said yes. Oh, sounds the same. Yes, I've been working on this microphone thing for weeks. So you can work on the behavior, and yes gives them, like, that's the correct thing, and we're going to associate. Sit. Come on. Sit. I know. Down. Stay. Stay. So since both of them, you saw that, like, Ranger broke and the Beagle broke. I don't know if you could have seen them or not. All I did was go back and put them back in their place. And then in a second here, I'll give them a yes word, and I'll reward that behavior for doing, like, I'll tell them yes. Yes. Like, I'm just reminding them that they're doing the right thing. Tuxie's over there. And he'll get a treat, yes, because he's been waiting there and staying, like I asked him to do. And these guys, I'm just going to keep reminding, yes, they're doing the right thing. Yes. Yes, stay. Stay. Good. And you can do this with, anything that you're training for any kind of obedience, whether you're tether training, whether you're doing healing, whether you're doing a sit down, stay, whether you're doing a spin, any of those types of things. A new one might look like, I think these two. I don't think Braley knows how to do the stool. Come here, Tux, come. Come. Yes, good boy, come. Sit. I'm just moving two of them out of the way. I'll start with come here, Ranger, come. Yes, come. So I said, Ranger, come. And as soon as he got up, I said, yes. So he knew he was doing the right thing. Stay. And so, like for Braley, yes, good girl. She stayed. I didn't call her name, so she had to stay, which she did. So I marked that. I said, yes, you're doing the right thing. And she stayed. What I'm going to show you, or try to show you, is we have this, it's just an old bucket. Stay. And the goal is for her to put her paws up on the bucket. She's never done it before. So we'll see how this goes tonight. But we're going to use the marker word to encourage her to keep doing the right thing. Meanwhile, these two that are still sitting here, Tuxie and Ranger, their job is to stay. So they all have jobs. And I don't care whether my two big ones, let me see if I can stay. All of you stay. So these two, there's Ranger and Tuxie, and they're to stay. That's their job. And Braley, we're going to try to get her to learn to put her 2 feet up on that bucket. Again, she's never done it before. And we're going to try and do it using marker words so that she understands she's doing the right thing. Hand signals and words work great with my dog Winston. Yes, they do. The hand signals are huge because he's learning the language before they can understand our words. Like we get a lot of people, and this is natural. They know sit, and a lot of our dogs that even come from the shelter know sit because a lot of the volunteers and the staff, we all work on that when they're out and they're playing, and they learn very quickly like how to sit. And they learn that word, and a dog can learn up to 1,500 words. However, they're going to learn sign language quicker. So, for example, if you're at a picnic or a barbecue and you're having a conversation with somebody, you can give them a hand signal, or you're having, tea in the living room with company and you want your dog to lay down, you can just give them the hand signal to down and you want them to do it. Down. Good. All the way. Yes. All right. So let me see if I can get Braley to put her paws up on this bucket and see if she understands. It might take a hot minute. Stay and stay. Come. So I want her to touch the bucket. Put your paw. Yeah. As soon as she touches it, come on. Come on. Yes. So as soon as she put her paw in the bucket, it was yes and a reward. Yes. Good girl. And then we're going to remove her. Come on. That a girl. And bring her back up to the bucket. See if she'll do it again. Yes. So as soon as she put a paw on there, she got a yes. Okay. And then we remove her. Yes. Good girl. Yes. Okay. So she's figuring out. Yes. Good girl. And we want to get, the goal is obviously to get her to do both paws. Good girl. Come here. Yes. Good girl. We take her back off the bucket. Up. Yes. So as soon as both paws hit the bucket, it's yes. And yes, good girl. So, and most of our, most stay, and these boys will get a reward for staying. Yes, good boy. Yes. Stay. And we haven't even given this. Yes. Yes. Good. Yes. Okay. Yes. Good. And I hope you can see in the video, because this, again, first time I've done demonstration. So now what you can do, yes. So now what you, sit. Good. Stay. What you can do is then you can put a word to it, like up or paw or whatever. But in the beginning of training, you don't really have to use a lot of words. Yes. And I'm just rewarding again these boys for staying so long in their position. So I'm telling them yes. I continue to tell them yes because they're staying in their position while I'm working with her. And then you can give this a word. Up. Yes. Good. Come on. And then when I pull her off of the bucket, it's called a release. Up. Up. Yes. So we're just teaching her now that she kind of understands. Yes. Up. She understands the word, or she understands what I'm expecting her to do. Up. Good. Yes. Yes. Up. Yes. And then we teach the word. Sit. Good puppies. Yes. Yes. And my other two, as long as I continue to tell them yes, and as long as they're doing the right thing, they'll stay. I can't say they'll stay for everything. Like if somebody walked through my door, would they stay? Maybe, maybe not. They're not perfect. And so now I can give her time to think about what I would expect her to do and see if she does it. Up. Up. Yes, that's right. Yes. Good. Up. Yes. Okay. Sorry, Breely. Let's pause there. And any questions? Thoughts or questions about that? What we can use it on? Other ways of using it? Should I be using it now? Can I use it with this? Can I use it with that? And we can use that with every single skill. So yes. No. So like if I want her to come back, stay. Up. Yes. Stay. Now I can work on another command, like just stay there. Yes. So now the goal is just to stay with your feet on the bucket. Stay. She already knows stay. Yes. She's learned to put her feet up there. So now we're working on a different skill. We can release her. Come on. Up. Stay. Stay. So the task just starts to get a little bit harder. Yes. And these boys get yes all the time. Yes. And yes for staying. Yep. Yes. Stay. Yes. And just because I say yes, that's not a release. And that's one of the hardest things because a lot of people want to give the reward and their dog thinks, oh, the activity's over. I can go off and play. Stay. That's not the end of it. Yes. I'm just rewarding the behavior. That doesn't mean the exercise is done. Stay. Let's see if she'll stay there. So that's just a correction. Yes. Stay. See if I can get her to stay there for a hot second. Nope. Yes. Nope. Yes. Stay. Yes. You can't lay on it. Feet up. Good. Nope. Stay. Nope. Stay. Good. Good girl. Good girl. So, and then we release her. See if so we just kind of up the behavior, or we up what we're expecting of them to do. Stay. Yes. And these boys just keep getting yeses because they've stayed so long while I'm working with her. In the beginning, if you have multiple dogs, the training to stay while you're working with the other dog is difficult because they both want to be engaged. They both want the treats. So and that's why I continue to reward them and tell them yes, because they're still at their stay. And I'm just working with this dog. Stay. And then we can change this around a little bit. Braylee, come. Let's put her. Wait, come here. Get off. Come here. I'll move this bed over. So hopefully you can see that. Up. Stay. And because her stay's not real strong yet, she's on a platform. Just to remind her that's where her stay needs to be, is on that platform. Yes. Stay. Tuxie, stay. Ranger, come. Good. So Tuxie stayed because I said Ranger's name, yes. So he gets a yes for coming. Stay. He gets a yes for staying. And she gets a yes for staying. Now, Ranger, let's see if he'll do the platform or the bucket. And a lot of this, come here. Yes. Good job. Off. And this can teach off, off the bucket, on the bucket, off the couch. So we put them on. Up. Come. Yes. Yes. But he doesn't get released. He's not free. It's just yes for standing there. She gets a yes for staying, and Tux gets stay. Tux gets a yes for staying. And the nice thing is if you can teach your dog to catch, like I just tossed it to him. He's still staying, but I don't have to walk over there and yes him all the time and hand him one. Tuxie, you ate it already. Do you think you didn't? Sit. Hey. Ready? Stay. There you go. Yes. And because he didn't move, he gets a yes. And she gets a yes for staying. Free. Come off. Good. Nope, you stay. Stay. She's very treat motivated. Yes. And because she stayed, she gets a yes. So technically when you're giving the treat, you're marking the behavior with go ahead, Tux, with a yes word, so that when I say yes, they understand that they're doing the right thing and that they should continue doing that until I say free, or, if I tell them to get off or whatever, or until I, release them from the activity. But they should continue doing that. Yes, Braylee. So I just tossed her a treat because she stayed on the platform, and she'll stay there probably until I release her, just because we yesed her, we marked her behavior as that's what I want you to do, and we continue to reward that same behavior. Does that make sense to everybody? Let's see. Oh, hi Rachel, good to see you. I'm trying to get Brandon to stop barking at the window every time a dog is walking. Whoa. Every time a dog is walking down the sidewalk. Should I use a reward system, or should I be telling him no and vibrating his collar? Okay, two things. Is the vibration working or not working is the first question. Because we can't so every consequence comes with a reward at the end. Because what we want to do, again, is correct, which would be your vibrate, and then redirect to the correct behavior with a yes. This is what I want you to do. So for let's say he's barking at the window. And I wish Braylee was just barking. She heard a noise outside, and she was barking at the door, which is why I let her out a second ago. But let's use, for an example, if she was barking at the door, what I would do, if Brandon's barking at the window, is I always go over and acknowledge it. And I look out the window and I'm like, yep, I see that dog, right? And I would say, let's go. Like, let's redirect him to the kitchen and make him do a sit, a down, a stay. Like, what happens with dogs is they get hyper focused on those other dogs. And Timber does this a lot with bicyclers going down our street. Like, she sees a bicycler and she's hyper focused. I go over, I acknowledge that there's a bicycler, but we're not going to stand here and bark. We're leaving. Take her to the kitchen or whatever, away from the bicycle, redirect her, and then give her a command. And then I reward that command. Like, this is what I want to see happening when you see a bicycle. Or when I say enough or stop or let's go, what we want them to do is to learn to ignore the bicycle or the other dogs walking by and be able to leave and function on another command. So I wouldn't sit there, Rachel, and just buzz. What's going to happen is he's not going to care anymore. There's not enough. Yes, but then he grumbles. Yeah, but he does. He's mad about it. He doesn't want to leave the window because he's the one, he nipped somebody when they went over and touched him. And I would leave that house leash on him. I would give him a good correction. I would acknowledge. I'd say, let's go, and expect him to come and redirect and do something else. And eventually what's going to happen, you do this over and over again repetitively. You're going to go over, acknowledge, and then he's going to be like, okay, let's go do something else. And that's what we want. We want a nice little watchdog. I mean, especially, we don't want strangers coming up to our house, but we don't need to bark at every dog that goes by. So we want to acknowledge it, and then we expect them to quit. But we have to train them that behavior. So we have to acknowledge it. If he won't come, put your house leash on him. If the vibrate's working and he still won't disengage, vibrate, redirect. But once you redirect him, you have to reward after the redirection because that's the behavior we want to see. And so when we use positive reinforcement, we have to reinforce the positive behavior that we see. So in this instance, if he's barking again, I hope you have your house leash on so that he doesn't, you don't want to go grab the collar or grab the dog because they do get so hyper-focused that they will turn around and snap at you. And so we want to have that house leash on them. We're going to acknowledge it. Yep, I see it, Brandon. Let's go. Pull him off the couch or away from that window. Bring him around and reward him. Make him sit, down, spin. It doesn't matter. So that he learns that when you come over, acknowledge, we're going off to do something else, and that's what's going to get the reward. He stopped. Okay, let me slow down here. He stops and listens. Oh, wait. I tell mine enough. I use the word enough a lot, too. That's my word when I want that behavior to stop, like barking or playing too rough. Yes. I always teach my dogs enough, and we can definitely touch base on that. He stops and listens, but then it's like it happens all over again with the next dog. And it probably will until he gets into such a routine. And you're probably going to have to acknowledge that he's doing his job. Like, it's his job to be the ADT system for your house. He thinks that's his job. So yes, you're doing your job. Let's go. And eventually, and like Matt said, I use the word enough. So here's what I typically go do is I say, I see the bicycle. We're leaving. Enough. That's when I use enough. It's time to leave. And then he gets the reward. Because you want to associate enough means we're leaving the window. It's time to stop. So we can use enough. I use enough for a lot of different things. Enough means stop what you're doing. So I use enough with rough play. I use enough with a toy. I use the word enough with, the window. Things like that, because enough just means I need you to stop. And so even if you pull him out of the window, like even if you redirect him to come and sit and lay down beside you on the couch or on the floor, that's fine, and put him in a stay and just reward the stay, because he's going to alert you at the window. He's probably, and I know Brandon, he's probably never going to be that dog that sits there quietly and watches another dog walk by your property, because in his mind, it's his job to alert the leaders of the household, the den, that there are enemies outside. So, but we don't want constant barking, and we don't want, when you say enough is enough. But we have to teach, but we have to teach, you are not in charge either, little missy. My beagle's growling at my pity because I have the treats. So we want to teach the word enough, if that's the word you want to use, but we still have to teach it as enough means stop. When you stop, then you're rewarded. So every command that you're teaching a dog has to have a positive response to it. So like when we start teaching enough, I don't have a dog here that will play tug of war. But let's say we're playing tug of war. And we're playing tug of war. None of mine play with toys, really. But we're playing tug of war, and I want him to stop. Okay? I'll say enough. And if he continues to play, I won't let go of the toy, but I will just, enough. And I'll show him a treat, enough. As soon as he drops the thing, I give the treat. So he learns that the word enough has a reward behind it, if that makes sense. Like it's a good thing to stop, is what we want to teach him. Whatever I'm doing, I need to stop, and it's a reward. So playing, enough. And pretty soon, as soon as you say enough, he learns that means to stop. Then it's the reward. He's like, I'm just sitting here getting rewards. And you can use enough for a lot of things, like even with like play, the window. But again, it has to be taught for each individual thing. And then pretty soon they learn that word enough means to stop. And we're going to redirect. And all it is really, even if I was sitting here playing tug of war and I said enough, I just held, and with Blue, this is what we were talking about today. If he's resource guarding that toy and you're sitting on the floor with him, and the second you hear him growl, we want to redirect that behavior and say enough. We want that to stop. You just stay calm, show him the treat, say enough, reward the fact that he dropped it, and enough has meaning. It has a reward behind it. He stops and listens. Yeah. And it's going to be, he'll do it for the next dog and the next dog and the next dog because he thinks it's his job. But there will come a time when as soon as you say enough, you're not going to have to go over and acknowledge every single time in the future, because enough is going to be enough. And he's going to already know, when you hear enough, I'm coming to get the reward, because enough meant to stop, do what I'm doing. And then eventually you don't need the reward. Like, we're just training and ingraining in his mind that enough means I need you to stop that behavior. But you have to train it for every behavior, just like with kids in school. You have to train how to behave in the lunchroom, and how to behave on the playground, and how to behave in the classroom, and how to behave in the music room. But enough eventually means the same thing in every single situation, in every single room. They did this with kids in school. They when I was teaching, it was like they would the teachers would put up 2 fingers or something, and that always meant get quiet. But they had to learn that in every environment. But then across the school, anytime a teacher put up 2 fingers, it meant to be quiet. And they learned that. But we do have to teach it in each environment. Hater Rhodes, yes, Tanya. Are you on a different phone? Or is Jen in too? We have to get this moderator thing done. Oh, and yours has a little camera too. I should push that camera and see. Vibrate works. It's just I'm doing it with every dog he sees. And it will. The vibrate will only work temporarily, though, if he's not being removed from the situation, given something else to do, and then rewarded for leaving. That's the key is the reward for leaving. It's not just that he stops the vibrate, because he'll learn just to deal with the vibrate. Just like, I mean, it'll eventually there's not enough consequence. He'll learn to deal with the vibrate. And he'll be like, okay, she vibrated me 10 times. Nothing happened. So next time it's 12 times. Hi, April. Oh, she has a little camera too. That's a new thing. So keep working with it. I don't want to get to a point where you use the shock necessarily at the barking, because we don't want him to associate, being a good little guard dog is a bad thing. We don't want him to do that. We were working with a dog. As a matter of fact, we were working with Wilson yesterday, and, he was so reactive for a very long time, that we did put the vibrate on him, and it was enough to reset the brain, but we need to immediately reward the fact that he has reset. Like, a lot of dogs can't reset. They're just so hyper focused, and that's why you don't want to go over and grab them. But if we can reset the brain for even a minute and redirect them to a positive, then they'll remember that and they'll continue to do it, just like with her on the bucket. They'll continue to do what they're rewarded for. And then you give them the yes word, enough. He cuts down, he comes over, yes. So ideally, you want to be able to use a word and not always have to use your collar, because his collar may not always be on, and then what, So we want to get him to learn enough, come to me, come over here, and get rewarded. So when I say enough, that means stop and come over and then reward. And eventually the rewards all fade out because they learn. Just like getting stars in school. You get little stars on your paper in elementary, but by middle school, nobody's giving you a star. My Rosie still barks too at the window. I'm trying to redirect. Sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. Keep up with it, Sheila. It takes time, just consistency and time. And if she is so there's a big difference between ignoring, your dog doesn't get to ignore you, okay? So if she's ignoring, again, house leash goes back on. If you're still struggling with this and you think this is going to be an issue, house leash goes back on. She doesn't get to ignore you. Whatever your process is I see it, enough, let's go, redirect, reward. And if she's still barking at that window when you are trying to remove her from the window, it's a good pop. Or that's when, Rachel, you would vibrate. It's like, you don't get to ignore me either. I said enough, let's go. And then you still do the reward for the enough, because he did redirect, or she did redirect. And eventually it's going to click, but especially with reactive dogs, it does take a while, because what we have to do is break the hyperfocus, get their brain to reset, redirect them to where they're doing the right thing, because they will always repeat what's rewarded. Yeah, try the redirecting. Because if you sit there and you just vibrate, or even if you just start the shocking thing, the shocking will probably, I just don't like to do it myself unless it's an absolute necessity. And the only time I ever use shock really is on recall. If, when training recall, so that if, they would ever, you don't want them running out into a street, it would have to be very extreme for me to use a shock. And so my highest is usually a vibrate. Has Brandon have you ever used the shock on Brandon? Because if you have, it usually only takes once or twice, and he knows what comes after that vibrate. If you've done it, in a manner where it's a vibrate, and then but what we really need to do is train what you want him to do. Like what you want, he needs to know what to do. I know the idea is stop barking, but we need to reward that. We need to reward somewhere along the line, or the shock it's not enough. So even like when I do recall, like when we train off leash recall, and they've learned the beep, and they know beep means to come. If they don't come, and this takes weeks, so it's not a one and done by any means. But eventually they get one shock, and they know that comes right after the vibrate. So they learn very quickly that if I don't react to the vibrate, the shock is coming. But still on a recall, they come, and we reward because we've redirected them running away, and we've rewarded them coming. So that's the whole key point of it, is that they're getting rewarded for the good behavior which was coming. Yes, he got a consequence out there, but they have to associate the consequence with, I need to turn around, come back, and then get the reward. No. Hi, Sarah. Nice to see you. Yeah, Rachel, again, obviously you can text me or call me anytime regarding that. Carol, I know you've been working with Bella on that too, like because of the neighbors bringing her back in after with the beep or recall. But we always want to make sure that we do give a reward for the right behavior, and that right behavior has to exist. We can't just leave them at the window. The right behavior has to be leave the window. Ignore that, and we have to teach them to ignore that. You actually have to teach dogs quite a bit of things. I'm sorry, I just making sure I got everything here. You have to make sure that you teach every step, because they are dogs. You know what I mean? They don't know our language and our lifestyle. They're dogs, so we have to teach them what we expect. Steve hi Steve, making progress with improved house rules. Good. Oh, and crate time. Very good. Good. You have other questions? Oh, Jen's on too. I did vibrating collar for barking, worked for a bit, but didn't do it right and made things, mistakenly put enlarge this. Too much faith in the collar. And that's what happens. People do put way too much faith into the collar, and it's not any different than, well, if you've ever raised kids or something and you yell at your kids, and you've probably even if you haven't raised kids, if you've yelled at your kids and sometimes you could say, I've asked you 10 times, that vibrate isn't going to work if you constantly, they're just going to learn to ignore it. I've asked you 15 times to do it. And the dog understands that there's not a huge consequence with that vibrate. That's why we really want to enforce when that vibrate happens, because we don't want to have to shock all the time. And I do know a lot of trainers that use the shock for every little thing, and they call it a stimulus. And, to me, it makes the dogs nutty, and it makes them, so you have to, the key to the training is rewarding the behavior you want to see. So a vibrate might trigger a lapse in that obsessive behavior for a hot minute, and that's when you've got to step in and give them what you expect and then reward it. Because we don't want to sit there and just vibrate. Yep, he's not doing it. Nope, not doing it anymore. He has to know what he's expected to do to get the reward. Same, I do not. Oh, you do not use the shock, only when we train with the cats. Yeah, and that's true. That's the only other time that I will use shock is if somebody adopts a dog and they want to take it back to the shelter because it's chasing a cat. I will use it then, and I have used it then. Like, we need to get this dog not to associate that you cannot kill the cat. And so it usually takes about 2 or 3 sessions and a lot of work from the owner. But we do want to associate that cat with the shock because we don't want the cat dead. And we don't want the dog back in the shelter. So they have to make that association that the cat can be dangerous. And now your cat and your dog get along great as far as, and it does work with cat training, but it's a very specific kind of training because we don't want to ruin the dog or the cat. And Rachel, you and I did do that with Brandon. And we did it with, not Carla, Kara and her Great Dane, because she had a cat and she adopted a dog from a dog warden in that big, and we get that a lot. The thing with the cats is that they look like a lot of fun to chase, and obviously, a lot of these pups have maybe never seen a cat or, they get on the ground and they run. I mean, that's like right up every dog's alley, But we don't want them to end up back in a shelter, so I'd rather take an extreme measure and get them trained so that, and then they get along than to, sorry, baby, to have them back in a shelter or somebody have a dead cat. Yeah, Sheila, keep working on it. Sheila, don't hesitate to text or call me. Email me, whichever, if she continues. Again, if you have to use your house leash to redirect her, do so. And then the key is the reward for leaving the window. Enough. Leave the window, reward. Yes. You left the window. Yes, that's what I want. Mercy is learning with hand signals, words, and rewards very well indoors, outdoors too. All without distractions, of course, of people or other fur babies. All bets are still off with the distractions. Yeah, she wants to go see and play with them. Okay, Kathy, I can't remember have you and I worked together here? Because if she's doing very well, like if she's mastering your house and your property, then she's ready for the next level. And which is why we do the social focus groups. But I can't remember if you've been here with me. I apologize. But that's what those classes are for, is just for teaching them to be around other people and other dogs and to learn. And again, with all training, it's not overnight. And it does take a little bit. But they have to learn to settle in and be around other dogs. They have to learn that, we were working with Wilson, again last night, and he's just absolutely terrified, terrified of other dogs. And he's so, anxious and, fear aggressive. Whether he'd been attacked before, which would be a good guess. But the owners have had multiple occasions, even another dog or anything, and he just is so, it took us 2 hours yesterday just to get him calm enough to be in a room with another dog. That's how anxious he is. So it's going to take them a little while. He will get there. They will. They just have to learn that, they're not going to get eaten alive and they don't need to react. We need to teach them. There's no real quick fix. The more you work with them, and get them around. And I would say for you, if you want to do it on your own and you don't want to, participate in a class or something like that, that's fine. I would start with, in your neighborhood and keeping a safe distance. And find that distance between where he's non-reactive to another dog, and we want to start desensitizing him to the fact. Don't bring him in 3 feet and he's reactive. If he's non-reactive at 10 feet, start at 10 feet. And if you have a friend or a buddy that has a dog, or a neighbor, work with them and, get it to where he can be. Like last night, we were able to get Wilson close to one of my dogs, and I would say within 5 feet by the end of 2 hours. Now, when he goes home, the owners are really going to have to work with him, because it took Wilson 2 hours to realize that my timber wasn't going to eat him. But it took him a long time. So the dog has to learn that every dog is not going to eat him until he realizes that he's safe enough that most dogs are not going to eat him. And if it's a plaything, like she just wants to go and play, then we have a different type of training to do with them, which is more of self-control training. Exactly, I didn't reward. Vibrate was automatic and help, but without reward. Yeah. Don't forget the reward. That's going to be your key. When he's doing the right thing, that's when we reward. And eventually, everybody always worries about, I don't want to have to carry treats around with me forever. I don't want to have to, it's not forever. Because what happens is as your dog gets better, once he learns and masters a skill, we don't reward for that. So like when I was working with Braley on the cup or the bucket there, I was rewarding her a lot for just putting her paws on it, then rewarding her for putting both paws on it. But when I wanted her to stay, the reward for putting the paws on stopped. Then she had to stay longer, and then I would reward that behavior. So the rewards stop after they master, and then we use the rewards for new things to master. But all the right now, the first year or two, it's a lot of reward, because we're training dogs, and we want them to learn quickly. And so with reward, they will continue to repeat. And I think like when we work with dogs that are very unfood motivated or untreat motivated, it's a lot more difficult. So if your dog is treat motivated, you're lucky. Because we want them to be easily rewarded because they remember that. Did I miss anything? Oh, you're in Polk. Oh, Polk County. Gotcha. Okay, Kathy, start with your neighbor, a friend, and see if now is she like fear reactive, or is she more like I want to go play with everybody reactive? So I do neighborhood walk. I'm sorry, I'm trying to scroll through and make sure I don't miss anybody. I do neighborhood walks 10 to 11 p.m. for less dogs, kids, and people. Yes. So, and start out that way, like until they stop being so reactive. Start out with, I don't want to see 10 dogs. I'd like to work with like one dog, like we want to ease them into this. We don't want to make them overbearing, and put too much, what we call pressure on them. So like we want them to learn to walk nicely past 1 or 2 dogs and be okay with that. And again, there is a boundary somewhere of distance, and start there. Now, Wilson, last night when we worked with him, that boundary was at the door. I mean, like he was inside, and the second he even just saw her, he was riddled with fear aggression, and even when I brought her in close, just not like we have like kind of like a little office area, and then you can come into the training room, and she was in the office area. There was a gate there, but he just knew that she was there, and he was very reactive. And so we had to wait. Like we waited him out. And when he finally calmed, I moved her in, and we have a big kennel in here. I put Timber in the kennel so there was a gate between them. And we walked Wilson around in here for a very long time. And so that he would just get used to the idea that there was another dog in the presence. And she didn't move in the kennel. Like she wasn't up at the kennel barking or anything like that. Like she was very non-reactive, is what he needs and all the dogs need is like a non-reactive dog. You can't put a reactive dog with another reactive dog and hope that they do okay. And that's one thing with the social classes that we do is I try to have enough space that we can find that distance, because some dogs will need 10 space. Some dogs will need 20 feet of space, so, but the idea is that they learn that all these dogs are in here and they're all moving around. And that's why I like with the classes that everybody's at a different level, because we have some dogs that have been doing it with us for, 2 years now. And so they come and they're just very calm dogs, which is a very good thing for reactive dogs. Like, we need some calm dogs just to show up, because they've been doing this for a while, right? So we don't want every dog to be super reactive. We need our reactive dogs to learn that they can be around calm dogs. Dana, you're very welcome. And it's going to be a process. We know that. But yes, he'll come through. I have no faith that he won't come through. It might take us until, like I said, the end of summer, as much as we can, but I have a good feeling about him. He's a good little pup. Yeah. Occasional reward jackpot has helped as well. Yes. Like, anytime that you can catch your dog doing the right thing is when you can give a reward. Even if they're just like laying on the couch doing nothing, there's times, because that's what I like my dogs to do when I'm up, doing whatever, unloading the dishwasher, cleaning, or whatever, and they're just all chill. I'll walk over and just drop a reward for every one of them. Like, that's exactly what I want to see you doing when I'm up moving around. I don't want you following me all over the place. I don't want you under my feet. I don't want like now they're all just kind of chill. Like, they were all up here for a second, but now they're all just kind of chill. And I would just reward that behavior. I would just walk over, drop it, and walk away. That's it. And she's like, oh, she walked away, but I was rewarded over there. If she would get up and follow me, I'd just walk into her. I'd put pressure on her. I'd say, nope, I don't want you coming with me. I want you to stay over there. And I would just walk up. And then when she does it again, drop a treat, walk away. Because that's what I want to do. I want her to stay as I'm walking around. So I reward her for just being chill. And a lot of dogs need to learn how to be calm. They don't come with an off switch, a lot of them. Some are nice little couch hippos and they never move. And some are so high energy that we have to actually teach them to zen a little bit. What's the matter, Tux? Any other thoughts or questions? Did I miss anybody? I hate to miss anybody. Carol, we need to schedule your next appointment so I can come down and see Bella. Yeah, Steven, with your vibrate, don't do it repeat. And same with anybody who's using vibrate and they're vibrating more than once. That one vibrate has to follow with the redirect and the reward. If we continue to vibrate, the dog will learn to ignore it, and then it won't work for anything. Especially if we ever want to do off leash recall, because that is we start when we do beeper recall. We want to be able to push that button no matter where they are, and they come looking for us. And the consequence is the vibrate, and we don't want them to ignore that vibrate. I don't know what he's doing. Oh, that dog. Let's make sure I got everybody. Well, indoors not. Oh, here's another thing, Kathy. She had mentioned that she was doing very well indoors and outdoors with her hand signals, her words, her rewards, everything she's mastering. Kathy, other things that you can do for self-control, and again, I'm not sure if she's reactive, like just reactive to other dogs, like aggressively reactive to them because she's worried or because, or she just wants to go play with them. But we can work on self-control. And so here's some things you can do in your house, even because she's mastered those things. So to up her self-control in her current environment would be like get a ball and like does she have a favorite toy or something like that, and put her in whatever command that she is learning to master. And remember, start very slow and bounce that ball. And she's just not allowed to get up. She might get up the first or second time, redirect her back to her sit or her stay, and just stand there and bounce the ball. And the next one might be to roll the ball, and she's not allowed to get up to get the ball. And then as a reward, instead of rewarding her, you would yes, reward for stay, but on her release, she gets to play with the ball. She gets to have fun with that ball. That's a huge reward for staying that whole time. But start very small, 1 or 2 bounces, and you can even give her the ball, yes, and give her the ball, because that might be her reward. And then put her back in a stay, bounce that ball 2 or 3 more times, stay, back up, bounce the ball a little bit more, and then reward her with the ball. It doesn't always necessarily have to be food, treat, motivated for a reward. It can be a ball, a toy, their favorite thing. But they aren't allowed to necessarily stop the assignment until you release them. But you can use a ball, you can use a treat by putting it on the floor and making her stay. Do not release her to get the treat. Excuse me, but you can, when you're done, yes, and she can have the treat, yes, but she can stay there and just stare at the treat. And those treats can become very high value treats. Hot dog, piece of chicken, whatever. But what you're essentially doing is teaching her self-control in the environment that she's already mastered. So that way when we go outside, even though we're still struggling, she's learned some of that extra self-control with distractions. You can use a cat toy on a string, whip it back and forth a little bit, start very slow. And if she fails at first, remember, we always want success. So if she fails at first, then we've done too much. We need her to be successful. She needs to be that yes word. So like, let's say I have a ball and she's in a stay. I'll bounce the ball once. If she gets up, I'll just gently correct her, have her sit. The second she does 1 bounce, that's the reward. I'm not going to sit there and expect her to have 10 bounces. That's the reward. Yes, for 1, and then it might be 2. If you started out and you bounced that ball 5 times and you rolled that ball across the room, that's way too much. You might start with just a ball and have it on the ground, or a toy or something, and she just has to look at it. And then that's a yes. Yes, that's exactly what I want you to do. Not touch that until I release you to touch it or I give it to you. So, it might, but everything has to start out very small. And so you can even start upping her game a little bit on self-control. So like if she has a squeaky balls are, dogs love them. Most dogs, you might just stand there and squeak and she'll jump up and you're like, put her back in her spot. It's like the first time you squeak that ball and she stays. Yes, that's exactly what I want you to do. I'm going to squeak this ball. Yes, I want you to stay. And then you might squeak it twice. And if she stayed there, yes, that's what I want you to do. And then for reward, like when the session is over, you might only do it like once or twice. And then she gets the ball to play with. And then you can do it again with her later on the day, the evening. So it's, and you can use any kind of distraction like a ball, a toy, a cat toy, a favorite, anything that she normally goes to, and start teaching her a little self-control. And then eventually she'll have a lot. You'll be able to roll things around the floor and you'll be like, stay, and you'll be able to do whatever you want. But what she's learning is self-control. That's what we want. And then again, move that out to the backyard, move it to the driveway, the sidewalk, the neighborhood. We just keep, putting it out a little bit. And it's really good. I mean, I have 1 dog that, well, actually now I have 2 since I have my beagle back. The chasing the bunnies and the squirrels, and really teaching self-control using a cat toy, teaching them that they cannot chase things is good. And everything starts inside. So you can work on self-control, Kathy, during, and then start doing that outside more as you're teaching her to walk. And even take like a squeaky ball. We use them a lot. I just buy a bag of those, just the squeakers. Like if you were somebody who could sew and you make toys with squeakers, I bought just the squeakers and keep them in your pocket. Help distract her, when you're walking. As she's becoming reactive, your job is to keep her attention. You have to be more exciting than what's other things are out there. And the goal is too, let me say this, there's a lot. But you don't want your dog necessarily in front of you pulling you, because then she's leading the walk and she thinks she's in charge of the walk. If that happens, you need to either just start walking back her and just re-engage with her. Yeah, come on. It's okay. Let's go, pretty girl. Let's go, let's go, let's go. Squeak. You want her engaged with you and watching you, not worrying about the other dogs. And again, those are some of the things that we work on. And Kathy, it's unfortunate you're in Florida. Well, it's probably really nice that you're in Florida, but compared to Ohio weather, we just can't get past this winter. But you want her to be like super focused on you. If you have the opportunity to take her to a park where there are other dogs, we start, walking at parks quite a bit, and, just as long as there's a dog in the distance. Sometimes we'll sit at a picnic table. And one of our clients does this, every week with her pup because he's super reactive. And we'll sit at a picnic table and there'll be dogs in the distance playing. And we just want to sit back and him to just like absorb that. Like those dogs are over there playing and that's okay. And we're just going to sit right here and that's okay. And as long as he's sitting, yes, that's right. I just want you to sit here. Good. Yep. We're just going to sit here, and then you might get up and walk around a little bit, but he's learning to focus on you and not the other dogs. So you could take her to a park, maybe, and then we actually then up that to a dog park. And I don't ever put my dogs in the dog park, but we might go sit where there's a dog park, and they have to, learn to watch the dog park, watch those dogs act like, fools out there. And he has to sit there and but if that's 50 feet away, then that's 50 feet away to begin with. And then we'll go back and it might be 20 feet. And then we'll go back and it might be 10 feet. And the next thing you know, we might be just standing right by the fence line. And, they understand that that's what's happening in there and they don't get to react to that. But we've taught them in baby steps to be around other dogs. And that it's okay. You do not have to be reactive to that. And it does take, reactivity does take a while, but it's definitely trainable. And that goes the same with whether they are aggressive, reactive, fear reactive, whatever, or if they are playful reactive. And a lot of times it could be a mix. Like even with Wilson, we saw last night, like after he had learned to like settle and calm down and he was like 5 feet from Timber, he was kind of intrigued by her. He was like, I kind of might like to be around another dog someday, and that might be someday. It wasn't last night. It's not going to be next week either, because he's not ready for that. Well, and anybody who knows Timber is not ready for that either. I mean, she's not dog friendly either. She's very controlled, but she's not dog friendly. But he might someday, enough. He might someday want to be with another dog. He just has to learn that he can do it, and we have to teach it. So, yeah. Okay. Any other thoughts, questions? I'm just scrolling here. Somebody did text me. Make sure I answered everything. Oh, someone asked earlier if you train service dogs. I did not see that text, Momo. Thank you for, do I train service dogs? I don't train service dogs. I do and I don't. I have trained Timber, is now service dog. She goes to a lot of places. She's in training. As a matter of fact, she went to the eye doctor with me. She goes up to the VA hospital with me. She goes to the restaurants and stores with me. I do, but I don't train them. And I did train Tanya's dog that she uses. She's a veteran. She's out in Texas. I trained her service dog, but her and I went to boot camp together and we served in the military together. So I did train her dog. She also is a trainer herself, but I happen to have crew. Those of you who knew, oh gosh, help me with his name, Melissa, Matt. Started with a P, Poke, from the dog warden. Anyways, he was one of my very first dogs we took into RTA. Why can't I think of his? All right, Stuff, you're gonna have to tell me his original shelter name. I can't think of it. Doesn't matter. He was the longest resident at the warden for that time period. And I went in and pulled him, trained him to be a service dog, and then went out to Texas. Met halfway, and now my girlfriend has him as her service dog. But that's because we went to boot camp and we served together. Pike, that's it. Corey, you remembered. Oh my gosh, I knew it started with a P. That's it, Pike. So yes, I have done service dog training. I don't do it really for other people. Service dog training takes a very long time. There are organizations out there that just focus on that, and my focus really is in rescue. And, some of these dogs I will take and train for certain people. But as a general rule, I won't take in a dog and service dog train it because I like to work with the rescue dogs and families more than spend time, and it's a long time to train a service dog. But I can help if you're looking for a service dog. I mean, we can certainly get them ready if you want to do the work. So I hope that answers your question. Would love to do group classes with Max. Yes. Stephen, did I not send you? It's on my website. I just posted it on my Facebook page. I just posted it on my website. I'm sure I have your phone number. I can send it to you as well. Let me see, Stephen, if I have you. I think I have your contacts in my phone. Yeah, anybody who I did send it out to a couple people, like right off the top of my head this morning. I had just finished it and I did throw it out there. But yes. And Stephen, here's the thing that I always do though, and I require you to take most people, unless they do an evaluation with me, is I do require like 4 one-on-one trainings with me so that the person and the dog, and I know we all have a relationship together, so that they understand when I say do this, when we get to a class with other people and other dogs, I am like safety number one. So it's very if I haven't worked with you one-on-one, we need to do that just to make sure that we're all on the same page. And usually that takes about 4 sessions. If you feel like he's ready, we can do an evaluation. If I feel like he would be ready to join, that would be fine as well. And I can't remember. I don't think we've met. We've just talked on the phone a few times. But yeah, like I would love to have you join the class, and if he's ready, we'll get him ready. And the classes go on all summer long. Like what I just posted, this year I tried to do it a little bit different. I used to just do it monthly, where you'd sign up for June, or you sign up for July, or you sign up for August. But what I realized is that people go on vacation, and so they might miss a whole month because one week they were going to be out. So this year I just listed all the dates, and you can just pick as many as you want to come to, and on whatever dates. And I tried also 1, 2, 3, 4. Are you all here? All right. I heard a noise. And so, and also what I would recommend too is like, and I try to make them on different days of the week this year, because like sometimes people have things on Mondays, and it was on Monday. So I tried to like separate them and spread them out. So some might be on Wednesday, Thursday, Saturday, so that you could, check your calendar and see. And then also if you're interested in joining the park walks, usually what I would say too is do several sessions and we master things in small bits. So master the group and then join the park walk. Don't start with the park walk because it's too much distraction. So start with the group and then do some of that. Like, come see me. Let's make sure he's ready. We're all on the same page for safety reasons. Do a few of the group classes and then do the park walk. And all of that can be done by the end of summer. Like, there's still plenty of time to do all that. Thank you, Kathy, for saying I'm awesome. I appreciate that. I don't know about that, but I appreciate it very much. I have continued to work with him every day. It is. Tanya is the one who has the service dog Pike, which is now Crew out in Texas. And it does take a lot of work. And you never really stop training your dog. Like, they can go and do a lot of things. And Pike had some social reactivity in the beginning, and she works with that with him. And I think he's doing really pretty well right now. But yeah, there's always work to be done. And they're not perfect. I mean, they are animals. We met for a bit at Metzner Park. Oh, that's right. When I did the pup thing, the fundraiser for the young girl at the high school there in Louisville. That's right. I do remember. So I have your phone number too. I can send that to you, or if you want to get on, if you look at my Facebook page, if you have Facebook, I pinned it to the top, so it should be right at the top of the Facebook page. It's also on the train page of my website. It has all the lists of the dates. And then if you decide you want to join, then you can there's a button that you click. If I did the website right, we all know how this works, so somebody please tell me. You're supposed to be able to click on a button and then fill out your form and just add what dates you want to be there. Oh, thank you. And Steve, that's the goal of doing these is like, I know training can be super expensive for a lot of people, and a lot of people just need knowledge. And, of course I want every dog to, stay in their home. I mean, our whole goal is to keep them off the streets and out of shelters. And I think the best way to do that is through training. So, by offering these things, by all means. And Stephen, if you want to meet and do an evaluation and see if they're ready to do the classes, I would love to have you in the class. It might be they might be fun. They were pretty good at the park, if I recall. And I think you would be fine. Honestly, I do. What are you licking my hand for? So just come meet with me one day and we'll just see how he does. And then, and I think you'll be fine. Any other thoughts or questions? Because it would be really good for them. And I think the classes really do help. We don't do a lot of obedience. I mean, we do obedience in our classes. Like, we work on long sits, we work on stays, we work on some healing. But they're not focused on obedience. It's focused on keeping the dog focused on you and breaking through that reactivity. And I know a lot of people are ready to move on, but I really feel like once they have that leadership and that reactivity a lot more under control, obedience comes very easy. When I first started training years ago when I was a kid, I would take my rescue little dog that I had from the shelter, and I was in 4-H way back then, and we started with just obedience training, and it was good information, and it was good. I mean, we competed, we did really well, and it worked. But since that, I've learned that it's, especially with rescues, and there's a lot more than just obedience training that I didn't know, that I'm glad I do know now and want to share with people. Any last minute thoughts or questions? If not, I don't have my paperwork with me out here in the kennel. Actually, I do. It's over my office. I don't know. If you want to wait a minute, I will tell you our next scheduled training. Let me just go check real quick because it's hanging up on my bulletin board. All right. Sorry about that. I should have had that better prepared. Our next one is, where are we at? Wednesday, June 10th. And it's called, it's Freedom Isn't Free. And that's a really good one. If you've followed us along in this process for the last 5 or 6 weeks that we've been doing this, Freedom Isn't Free is really good, especially, Blue. You want to know this a lot with Blue, as he's starting to go through the de-escalation process, because he'll be at that, you've had him, 2 weeks, he'll be at that 3-4 week mark. Really, it's all right, baby. How's your face? So that's a really good class about leadership and not letting your dog own your house. And then, Stephen, this is what the dates look like on the website. Just if you get on there and you look, it's just this is black and white, but it's in color, but it just is these lists of dates. And then the website, I should put a link on this. It's hopebridgerta.org. But again, if I forget, Stephen, to send it to you, you can't find it, just text or call me and say, hey, send that to me. You forgot. I tend to do that quite a bit. Oh, Matt, I need to ask you before you hang up, are we still on for tomorrow? I know you sent me an address. Are we still on for tomorrow's session with your father-in-law? Make sure, I think you did send me his address. We're going to go. We said 11 o'clock Thursday. Matt may have left. Oh, yeah, maybe. So we have 11 o'clock tomorrow, Matt, if you can hear me, I'm assuming. If not, if you've already left, then I will text you and confirm that. His father-in-law took a pup home from the dog warden. So we're going to go check him out. Any other questions or thoughts? Hi, Lisa. All right, then. With that, no further ado, we will end tonight's session. I will hopefully see you on June 10th. About Freedom Isn't Free. And meanwhile, again, if you're interested in the classes or whatever, you can, the park walks or doing a couple of sessions ahead of time so that you can participate in those. It's a lot of information, and it's very inexpensive. And again, all the funds go to support our mission on keeping the dogs out of the streets and off the shelters, providing training for people that cannot afford it, things like that. So the few shelter dogs that we have here left that need it, and anything that supports all of these pups. That if we need to text or call, what is the number? Are you ready? You got a piece of paper and a pencil? I'll throw my number out there. I think it's on my webpage anyways. 330-327-3422. And if you do text me, which is fine, Sheila, name, picture of your dog. That's how everybody's logged in by their dogs. And then that's how I remember who's who. For some reason, I'm terrible with names, but I can remember a dog. And then whatever your question is. And we can set up a time to I can call you back or chat or whatever. Okay. All right. Well, thank you very much for attending. And homework is marker words. Practice your marker words this week. And let me know how it goes. And if you have questions until the next time we meet, by all means, drop me an email. All right. Have a good evening. And thanks again for joining. Yes. Oh, did you get it, Sheila? Did you get the phone number? Sorry. It takes a little bit while for you probably type it. It takes a while to come in. Yeah, good. All right. Very good then. Everybody have a good evening. Oh, and here's the other thing is I will post this on my YouTube channel. I've learned how to do that last week because somebody asked me to figure that out. So it won't be on Facebook, but it will be on our YouTube channel. And I created a category called live events. So if you need to go back and rewatch, it will be, and the YouTube channel is just Hope Ridge RTA. So it will be posted there if you or anybody else needs it. And we'll try to do that from now on. So, all right, enjoy your evening and good night.